been a while since I did a toy haul and commentary, and I've had this one on the back burner for a while. But if you saw my previous action figure videos, you're probably thinking I have some kind of droid fetish or something. I don't. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I do like all the background droids, and without them, no diorama is complete. So this haul has a bit of a backstory, and it starts with these two droids. I picked them up with some other figures at Tungori, an overseas surplus Star Wars action figures outfit, and they were listed as R7F5 and R7D4. First thing I noticed, these are not R7 droids. They're apparently R2s, but I'll get to that. First, there's R7F5. The only reference I could find on this designation came from an Entertainment Earth exclusive set. But as I did a bit more digging, it seems to be misnamed, and the droid they meant was R2Y9, the droid that served tag in Shadow Squadron during the Clone Wars. So I was right, not an R7 droid. The other droid was R7D4, also from the Clone Wars, and he served Master Plo Koon. There are at least two droids from Clone Wars with R7 designations, the other being Ahsoka's R7A7. To me, the R7 series is a completely different model, created after the destruction of the second Death Star, specializing in E-Wing fighters. However, this is what Wikipedia had to say on the matter. The astromech droid R7A7, who appears in the Clone Wars series, has been designated as an R7 series droid. The Clone Wars Character Encyclopedia confirms that R7A7 is indeed a prototype droid, but does not say whether the droid is a prototype of the post-Battle of Endor R7 model. R7D4 has the nickname R7, but he was created prior to the release of the R7. However, the initial two symbols of a droid's name do not always connote the model series, as they are part of a longer name, so this may not be a continuity error. So you might have caught that in my research I had identified the Entertainment Earth exclusive Astromech droid pack as the source of these two droids. This pack contained two other droids from the Clone Wars, QT-KT and R2-C2. But it was the remaining two droids, one from the original Star Wars, which you probably call A New Hope, and the other from Return of the Jedi, that really got my attention. You see, R2A5 is a droid you see on the streets of Mos Eisley outside the cantina, and I'm working on a cantina diorama. And the other is not given a designation that I could find, but is called Jabba's Bartender. And he can be found in the Rebel Briefing Room. Nah, just kidding. He's a blink-and-you'll-miss-him character on Jabba's sail barge. And, of course, I had to have the little guy for my sail barge. So Netter did what she does, and she worked her Google Foo magic, and she got me one. Now let's take a closer look at some specifics on these droids.
Hey, what are you trying to push on us?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. This model is incredibly fiddly. First, you have to have the middle leg extended in order to insert the sensor scope, which falls out very easily, and I can see it getting lost. But then there's no internal tension to keep the middle leg extended, so the droid falls over if you so much as tap it. Middle leg goes in, sensor pops up. There is no way to retract the center leg and have the scope down. Then there's this welder arm where the door keeps popping open. A nice detail, but not when you can't display it without it popping open. Oh, and with the scope down, you can't turn the head. The problem here is the hole in the top is for the bar cart, which can't be attached if the scope is up, but the scope can't be down without the middle leg extended. So the bar attachment will be spilling all of Jabba's drinks behind the droid. I hate this droid configuration. It turns out that this monstrosity of a sculpt was originally the VC-25 R2-D2 released in 2010. Thank you to the site Bantha Skull for this information, citation below, and you should really check it out. It's a great site for Star Wars figure information. Anyway, this was meant to be the everything R2-D2. It is meant to represent the original Empire Strikes Back R2 with sensor scope, Return of the Jedi R2 with pop-up lightsaber, and with the addition of the bar cart and arc welder arm. This is a very ambitious attempt at an all-in-one R2, and as I just demonstrated, the features all get in each other's way and don't work. Look, it's a 3 3/4 inch scale, not a 6-inch Black Series. There's only so much real estate in this little guy. Remember, the original sensor scope R2 and pop-up lightsaber R2 didn't have a retractable third leg taking up space inside. So, as Bantha Skull tells us, back in 2010, you couldn't order solid cases of individual figures. For a retailer, the only way to purchase a specific figure was to buy that particular case assortment. This meant that each individual figure did not need to be profitable. A figure could be a loss leader if another figure in the assortment was highly profitable. This is exactly why, as Bantha Skull calls it, Bar 2D2 was released in Wave 3 of the Vintage Collection. It was to offset the cost of the more expensive Gamorrean Guard. This was doable because the figures were only available via a solid case assortment from Hasbro. So, every time they sold a Gamorrean Guard at a loss, they also sold a Bar 2D2, which made extra profit. In other words, this small figure was a cost saver. Couple this with the fact that it was apparently the all-in-one definitive R2, it sold very well. This ensured Hasbro holding on to the mold to get as much use out of it as possible, and thus so many other droids using the same mold, including all these Entertainment Earth exclusives, as well as a more recent one I'll be talking about in my next video.